Welcome back to WagerTalk TV. This is the KBO betting show. My name is Andrew McInnis, joined, of course, by the smoking Cokin, Dave Cokin. How you feeling, Dave, coming off that loss this morning, but still an outstanding run? How are things?
Everything's all right. That game looked like it was going to lose. Even when it was 7-2, it was like this is a very uncomfortable 5-run lead because you were already into the Doosan bullpen, and that bullpen was really bad last night. And this Kiwoom team they're just really, really strong. They're the best team in the league right now. I'm pretty well convinced of that. And part of it is that they've got a good bullpen, and most of the other teams in the league don't. And as the innings pile up, I think that's going to be more important, something that's a bigger factor. And I think they will overtake the Dinos at some point.
Well, definitely. I mean, this is a series that we knew was going to be a good series and a promising one, to say the least. And, came down to pitching. But I was definitely disappointed. I had the first 5 innings. So you and I ended up on the same team in different manners. And, getting that bottom of the 5th, I was feeling comfortable. And we saw 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th. So that was kind of a disappointment. We've got some guys in the chat box from both YouTube and Periscope. Hello out there to all of you guys watching the show. Let's make some money in the KBO tomorrow morning.
One quick note on that game, by the way, if you don't think managers are important, I think the Kiwoom manager won the game for his team. He wasted no time getting that starting pitcher out of the game. I was hoping that this guy, we got a chance to really light this guy up. And he's out of there after 2/3 of an inning. And it was like, wow. And it was a great move. The bullpen did give up a few more runs, but then settled in very nicely. I thought that was a brilliant maneuver. Get the hook out quickly. This guy doesn't have it. We're getting him out of here. And I think it really set in motion the chance for them to come back. And the other thing was, in a game, it was featured a lot of bad defense. I mean, a lot of bad defense. Even though it was only 1 error on the board, there could have been 3 or 4 more. It was a really great catch by the Kiwoom left fielder that saved at least one, maybe 2 runs. And that was at the time, it was a 7-5 ball game. So those were 2 big plays that went the hero's way and ended up getting me in the loss column. We'll bounce back tonight.
Still a great streak, Dave. Like you said, you'll bounce back tonight with another. Here comes another streak. I mean, the fact that we're going to say, you lost 1 game and you're still on an outstanding run. I mean, that's the power of playing, first of all, 1 game a day, but playing the great spots you have been. Losing 1 is definitely not going to stop you. Here's an interesting matchup. I mean, we got the Doosan Bears. They're holding a 29-21 record, and they're currently 5-5 their last 10. Hanwha Eagles, however, 12-38, 3-7 record their last 10. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Dave, somebody suggested to us when new matchups click in, if we can get more in depth, and I definitely in the future want to start doing that a lot more. But with this type of series, with Hanwha being involved, it's hard to really go in depth and just talk about them because we all know what they've been doing. I wanted to mention that anybody out there that follows me on Twitter, let's get the hashtag rolling, fade the Hanwha Eagles. I saw a few people tweeting it back at me. I thought it was quite amusing, and it's definitely something that I see the gambling Twitter community and the WagerTalk community really buying into the concept of, fading this team. So it's become fun but profitable, Dave, to fade this team. And speaking of profitable, how about this number we're seeing on the Doosan Bears right now?
Well, and we are, because it's just a mismatch. And again, anything can happen. It's 1 game. But the Bears have Alcantara, who's been eating up innings in addition to pitching good ball. He's got 4 straight starts that are pretty good. 8 out of 10 have fit as decent on the season. And he'll go deep into games, which means the Bears bullpen doesn't get involved. The Eagles come limping in, another 4-game losing streak. The starting pitcher is not good. 28 walks in 29 innings, or 21 walks, I beg your pardon. That's awful. And he just doesn't figure to be any match for this Doosan offense, even though the Bears have been more prolific scoring on the road than at home. Looks like a game where Doosan should be able to name the score.
Definitely. And I've talked about those alternate lines. One that I cashed on with the NC Dinos in their series against the Lotte Giants in Game 2, a massive price in the money line, a steep price in the -1.5. I think you'd have to look alternative line or look team total over here for this team. But Dave, I know I throw these questions at you. I know you're not much of a first five guy. I'm usually the one that talks about the team totals, but Alcantara with a 7-1 record. This is a Hanwha team coming off an effort of just one run. Are we wrong to really, just define and just circle out the Hanwha team total under in this game? I mean, any game you can.
I don't know, because if Alcantara has to leave the game at some point, even Hanwha can put runs up on the board against this Doosan bullpen, and the Bears bullpen got used up last night.
Okay.
So I'm very leery about going.
And that's why I think the over has to be a look versus the under, even with Alcantara.
I can't disagree with that. I think this game's got a good chance to hit double figures.
That's why I said the over. I think the over has a better chance than the under, because even though Alcantara's been great, it could still just absolutely go. And you mentioned with Kim, Kim is not nothing great with him. But the thing that I want to mention with him, he's not really pitching too deep. He's
not expected to. It's only his third start.
Yeah. Well, this is a game I'm not really going to look to be too heavily involved in. We'll see how the odds move. We'll see how things change totals wise.
I'm not involved in it at all.
Because it's like you said, Dave, we've talked about this before. Why get involved in a game when the numbers are like that they are right now? We've got the SK Wyverns, Lotte Giants, second game on the board. Does this one pique your interest a little bit more?
Well, Pintos is going to go in this start. He was scheduled to miss a start because he got hit on the hand in his last start, but obviously it's okay, so he's going to be on the mound for the Wyverns, and they'll go against Sampson, who kind of regressed a bit in his last start after looking pretty good in the two prior starts. But I think Sampson might have an edge here. There could be some weather in this game. There's a couple of games where there's rain in the forecast this evening or tomorrow morning, whichever we want to call it. So keep an eye on that. But I would give Sampson an edge here. Pinto is just his numbers on the road have been pretty bad. 19 innings, 29 hits, 24 runs. Some of those were unearned, but still. 11 walks, 13 strikeouts. That's a lot of base runners. That's more than 2 an inning. And the Giants are a different team at home than they are on the road. They put some runs up on the board at home and usually get pretty good pitching. I think the Giants, the right side here, it's in the price. It's a pretty good sized number, but I expect Lotte to win this game.
Yeah, we've spoken about the teams that are different on the road versus at home. We have somebody in the chat box here mentioning how much different Doosan is on the road versus at home. And now looking at a team like Lotte, the stats certainly speak to it. I wanted to mention with Adrian Sampson, he's just a one good, one bad kind of guy right now. He hasn't really been able to find his path, Dave. And now against a team that's struggling to put up numbers, I believe, just like yourself, this could be a bet-on opportunity. I wanted to ask you.
It's all about the breaking ball for him. If he's got command of his breaking ball, he's good. I saw enough of him in the majors to know this guy because he's not going to get by with his heater. But when he's got his good breaking ball working, he can actually be a pretty good pitcher. Even at the major league level, he was decent. When he doesn't have the breaking ball working, he doesn't have much, and he can get hit by anybody. So even in KBO, it's been kind of the same story with Sampson.
What have you seen with this line movement here, Dave, in this game? Are you seeing much, and do you expect to see much?
Not moved in nickel, that's all.
Okay. No, I'm comfortable with the Giants at this price.
Well, I'm not a big favorite.
I wouldn't want to go too much higher, though.
To me, it's a -1 if you like Lotte.
Okay, I tend to agree as well. Next game on the board, LG Twins, Samsung Lions. Look, this Lions team has actually been pretty consistent right now. They're on an 8-2 run, and they've been able to do it in different ways. But the way we can really talk about it is them shutting teams down. It's from pitcher 1 to 4. They've been pretty good, and then their bullpen comes in and gets the job done. Consistency is the name of the game. We look at this game here, though. We've got a team in LG. It's a little bit favorites right now. Is it justified?
Not the way they're playing because of the injuries. And we brought this up several times. They've had a lot of injuries, and there's no depth in this league. And Wilson has been okay. That's it. It's been marginal. The numbers just aren't great for him. They're better than they are for Beck, but Beck is coming off. He said 3 of his last 4 starts have been good. One thing, however, to bear in mind, now you can look at this 2 ways. He got absolutely torched by this Twins team in an earlier start. 4 innings, 14, I believe it was 14 hits and 11 runs. They left him out there, and he just absolutely got shellacked. But that wasn't the same lineup as he's going to see in this game. Samsung's playing the better baseball right now. I'm not sure they should be home dogs, and the market seems to agree because this line's been bet down about 15 cents. To me, right now, the plays with LG are the unders. Because they're offense.
We're seeing a 9.5 again. I keep on asking you why we're seeing the hook now. I got to look under here with Samsung until they prove me different.
I can't disagree with that. Even though Wilson has been, fair at best, the offense for the Twins just isn't there until they get their guys back, and they're playing some unders.
And there's nothing wrong with, mentioning very consistently. We've been talking about the injuries, and you've been very, vocal about the difference that this team really is. And talking about depth in this league is huge because we're not going to see someone just come out of nowhere and start hitting dingers. No. Everyone's a role player. Everyone plays their certain role. And like if I have a team I bet on and I know that they're down, I got to check the lineup and see, okay, is that guy coming up? Is that guy coming up? Because I'm not going to feel comfortable, if I see, the guy in the back of the order. Going up to the plate. So I'm going to look under 9.5 in this one, and I'm going to look Samsung until LG really gets their act together. I got to ride a hot team. Samsung's getting the job done, and I like how they're coming off a pretty strong win against the SK Wyverns. Keep in mind, though, SK just wasn't scoring. SK just couldn't score, but LG can't really either. So we'll see if they can turn it around against a team like Samsung. But Samsung has great pitching, so that's to me a quality spot for them. Kiwoom Heroes, KT Wiz. I mentioned to you off air, Dave, I was disappointed in myself. I didn't pull trigger. KT Wiz win in the underdog spot this morning against the LG Twins. We just spoke about them. Now we're seeing a game, Despaigne against the Joker, a head-to-head matchup that I think a lot of KBO fans and bettors are probably looking forward to seeing. And we're seeing a 9 as the total. I know you've been doing some pretty well with totals these days. What do you think about this one?
Actually, it was 9.5. I haven't checked the screen, and I don't have my screen up right now. Look, Jokic has been tremendous. Outside of Koo, he's the best pitcher in this league. I mean, even better than Straley. His numbers are outstanding. The 1.43, there's a little luck involved there, but it's still, he's got a very low batting average on balls in play. But he doesn't give up a lot of hard contact, and he hasn't had a bad start. He's 10 for 10. In terms of decent starts. They didn't all qualify as quality starts because he didn't go long enough in a couple of games, but those were early. He's in great form, coming off a game where he gave up 1 hit in 8 innings last time out. He already dominated this team, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 unearned run with a 1 walk and 9 strikeouts earlier. And the guy's numbers are, he's 54 base runners in 63 innings. Is outstanding, only 2 home runs. I think he's got a big edge on the mound against Despaigne, who has really been struggling. He's got just 1 good start out of his last 6. He's going in the wrong direction. Now, he is on 4 days rest here, and he's been better on 4 days rest than on 5. But Despaigne, not a guy you can really trust. Now, the interesting thing in this game is I think the scheduling dynamics do favor the Wiz. That was a really long game last night that Kiwoom played. It was over a 4-hour game, and now they have to travel a little bit. It's not big travel in this league, but it's still, you got to leave home and go on the road. And they could have some tired bats tonight. Wouldn't shock me if they've got some tired bats tonight. They also really want innings out of Jokic here, so they got the right guy on the mound. Had it not been Jokic on the mound, even with Despaigne struggling, I'd have been on KT in this game because I think the scheduling dynamics are not good for the Heroes. But with their best guy on the mound, I expect him to be very effective again. So you could be looking at a game where runs are at more of a premium than normal.
I agree.
Even with a couple of teams that have very good offenses, I think the under is something you might want to look at here.
I agree. It's definitely a play. You got a guy in Jokic. Very limited walks. I think he's averaging like 1 walk given up a game. Strikeout numbers are decent, but he's more of a guy he's going to challenge batters. And I think that's what he's been successful with. But you mentioned he's staying late into games. I think it was, what was it? 8 or 7. I'll pull it up here. Yeah. 8 against Kia, 7 innings against SK, 6 against Lotte. The team is building the trust. They're very comfortable. And like you said, Dave, with the spot that you said, the situational spot, it's a good thing it's him out there. It's a good thing we're seeing him.
It's a good or a bad thing, because this, to me, might have been a spot where we had a real live home dog.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's not a chance I'm going against Jokic.
I mean, we got a team coming off a great series against the number 3 team. They're the number 2 team now. They're 8-2 their last 10. They're number 1 guys on the mound. I'm not going to go against them, is what I'm going to say.
No.
And we got a KT team with still, we've seen it. Their bullpen has been better, but statistically, larger scale wise, I'm going to trust Kiwoom's pitching staff throughout the full 9 innings versus KT's.
They worked a ton they worked a ton in the Doosan series, including 8 1/3 innings last night. Out of the
KT team coming off an extra innings game though.
But it wasn't just as crazy a game as the other. I mean, that game was absolutely insane yesterday. I think the first inning took like an hour. This is an interesting game from a live standpoint. If Jokic doesn't have it, you might want to take a shot with KT.
Okay.
But that's a big if.
Okay. Next game on the board, Kia Tigers, NC Dinos. We know the story with this NC Dinos team. We know what they're able to do. I mean, even if they give up some runs and they have some of their weaker pitchers in, they score. And actually, you know what, Dave? I'm actually going to go back after the show and look at the stats, because it seems to me when it's not their top guys pitching and it's the bottom of their pitchers, look at the scores.
Yeah.
What is their over record?
And that might be the issue here, because they're facing a good pitcher in Gagnon, who he's been better than his numbers indicate. 4-3 ERA, close to 4, but the metrics are really outstanding for Gagnon. He's better than a strikeout per inning. He's having a weird year. He's only got 4 out of 9 starts that I graded on the base stats as okay, but on the peripherals, it's a lot better than that. So he's had some bad luck, I guess you could call it. He's going against a guy who's got a limited sample, but this is a bit alarming. 16 2/3 innings, 22 hits, 11 runs, 4 homers in that stretch. That's the stat that always pops out to me, and I look for that in the majors too. Guys who give up home runs, they're a little bit. If it's a real good pitcher, they're solo homers. But when you're getting down to lesser level pitchers, oftentimes you got a crooked number that goes up on the board. We saw that last night, by the way, with the in the Heroes game. They hit their home runs with men on base. I think they got they have 7 runs batted in on 3 home runs. So
I used to always get mad. Kendrys Morales for the Jays, Dave. He used to always hit all of his homers when nobody was on.
Yeah,
he would never actually hit homers when guys were on base.
So anyway, just to continue on the Kia NC game, the problem here is, because this really does look like a favorable pitching matchup for Kia, the bad news is the odds makers thought that too. And you have a very rare instance here where the first place team in the league is a home dog. Or, it's 115 Kia's favorite. So at least the last time I looked. I'm certainly not. This is a valueless situation for Kia, and I can't back them even with what I think is a clear edge on the mound here. So this game's going to be a pass for me.
When I look back at the last series between these two teams when they faced off, and it actually wasn't too long ago, we actually saw some runs out of Kia. We actually saw in back-to-back games they won 7-4 in one of them. And 7
those were at home,
next. Yeah,
those were at home.
Yeah,
I mean, I would speak about trends. Well, this has been a season-long trend. This team doesn't score on the road.
No, and that's the problem. That's why I want to bring up is that looking at this now, they're coming off a game against the Hanwha Eagles squad, and now they're going to turn around and play this team, which I can come out and say that I regret not grabbing the NC Dinos because they had a crazy good price. We saw Australia on the mount, and it was the best price we're going to get on NC money line probably all year long. Now we turn things around. This is a bet on spot for the NC Dinos, I think. And you look at what we've seen out of this team is that the pitching matchups, like I said, Choi out there right now. We had Park this morning for NC. Now we got Gagnon on the mound for the Tigers. But a good pitcher does not matter if your team can't score. I don't care if you have the best pitcher out there. If you're losing a game 2-0, I would rather take the Dinos to score and get the job done versus trust Kia. A good pitcher, to me, can only take you so far.
Yeah, my trouble with that is the guy in the mound for the Dinos might just suck. I mean,
but so did Park. So did Park, though. For the most part. Well, not Park, but the pitching for NC and NC scored 9 runs.
Oh yeah. They got the straight. That's they've got a tremendous offense, and that's what makes it really difficult. So even to me, in a very advantageous pitching situation for Kia, I can't back them, and not at the price. Mm-hmm. The odds makers do a good job. They don't make it easy.
They don't make it easy, but I'm finding, Dave, that they're really loving betting on these middle-of-the-pack teams with their great pitchers out there. I'm going to start betting against some of these great pitchers just based off the value we're getting on the opposition.
I can't argue that. Something we made this point quite some time ago is that while the foreign pitchers have an edge over the Korean pitchers in terms of straight-up wins and losses, when you factor in the price, it's actually been a losing proposition.
Yeah. And that's why I've stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Somebody said just a little bit up here, what's your guys' favorite bets?
Well, go to WagerTalk and you can get mine.
WagerTalk.com is where you find our best ones. And, somebody asked, just on Twitter very politely, it was a very nice way of phrasing it, but just asking me, saying, how did you go 3-1 yesterday if you had the NC team total and this and something else? That 3-1, a record that I reflect and I bring up on this show is not my leans and discussion plays.
Right.
It's my WagerTalk client plays. I'll make that very clear. So, but having said that, though, I'm not also going to say I don't bet these looks that I'm giving out to you guys in the show. It's just the premium ones I'm putting a little more money on and giving out to my clients that pay for the service. And I think you can understand that, Dave. That makes sense.
It's not very expensive. Okay, it's $9 to get the best bet. I did, by the way, deviate from my norm today. I did play 2 games. There's a best bet up, and for package all access subscribers, there's another play, which I think I mentioned on the show, the -1 play I like. So there's one I like. Even with Pinto on the mound instead of Bake, I think Lotte has a pretty good shot to win this game, and I don't like laying that big a price, so I made that a -1 play. So that is a play for me. The best bet, if you want to find out what that is, it's $9. If you've got WagerTalk bucks in your account, it might be nothing. But go to WagerTalk.com and get the best bet. And thanks for those of you who've been buying the picks. Tremendous. The volume has been absolutely enormous the last few days. I guess that has to do with being hot. Thanks for your support. Very much appreciated.
I definitely agree. So before we wrap things up, we just want to shout out the record. Dave Cokin, 12-2-1 best bet run. We have to do it. I didn't talk about it.
No, Miss Conquer is saying Dave don't give any hints on what he likes. I just gave you a game that I like. So, I mean, Lotte -1.
How do you get picks and how much? So, this is great. This is great questions, actually, Dave, because you know what? We're getting a lot of new viewers. We're seeing a lot of different people asking, how can I purchase picks from you guys? So Elliot, a guy that I see a lot in the WagerTalk chat box, whether it's for soccer, hockey, basketball, a lot of people tuning in for these videos, they might not have ever purchased a pick. So WagerTalk.com is where you go, and you can see Dave or myself's packages. If you want a 3-day or a week or a month package, go to our profile pages listed under handicappers, and you can just click on that, go to add cart, and there you are. Everything will be sent to your email or mobile device, and you can also sign into your account to see all the plays that we are on. That's pretty much the best way to do it. Myself and Dave, we both recommend getting on longer-term packages, which is why we had that big deal for the full season.
I believe there's a package available that WagerTalk Promotions put up to get both of our seasons, balance of the season. I don't know, and I honestly don't know what it is, but you'll see it if you go to my page there. It'll be listed.
Yes, yeah, and if you email customer support at WagerTalk.com, they will set you up with a deal. And I like that, Dave. It doesn't affect us, but to me, that's what I want. We're doing the show together, and I think it's cool that people jump on for both yourself and my picks. Mid-Major Matt of SportsMemo.com, he's asking us, Dave, any sleeper DFS starting pitchers today? He's been playing some DFS stuff here in the KBO. What do you think?
Well, I'm not a DFS guy, so I don't know how to measure what they cost as to their value, and I don't want to guess at something that I don't do. I mean, obviously, the best fantasy pitcher in terms of performance likely would be Jokic, because he's the second best pitcher in the league.
I think we'll get some
but
value with that.
He probably costs a fortune, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he'd be the number one guy.
So if I were going to take a shot, I would take a shot with Samson.
Okay.
He's probably not going to cost too much because he's got an ugly record and a high ERA, but he's going against a crappy offense, and I think he's showing signs of breaking out. But again, I'm not a fantasy guy, so take that with the entire canister of salt, not just a grain.
I like that as well, Samson, and I'd also say Beck as well. We've seen some quality pitching against Samsung, and LG definitely isn't really lighting the lamp either.
No, not with all that makes sense with all the injuries. And he probably cost less than Samson.
Definitely,
because the guy's 3-3, 4.50, and he doesn't have an American name.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing that, and you'd have to correct me. You fantasy guys can probably correct me on that, but I would anticipate that Beck for Samsung is probably a middle price tonight as far as fantasy goes.
Yes, something like that. I'm not a huge fantasy guy, but I do dabble here and there when I'm liking a few teams.
I don't do it at all. I am in auction leagues in baseball, but they're full season leagues.
Right.
And unfortunately, obviously, they got canceled this year. But fantasy, I never play fantasy football. Tough enough to pick goddamn winners in the games. And I'm going to start looking for player performances too. No, I'll stick with the spreads. I just want the
team to win, don't you?
Yeah, I'll stick with the spreads and hope I can win at that.
Yeah, same for myself.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Thanks for your time. Have a great night. Good luck with your wagers. All of you guys out there, Zach, Elliot, Rudy, Jeffrey, Brian Watson, a loyal viewer, Johnny Outlaw, Miss Conquer, everybody in the chat box. We appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like button. We got an extraordinary amount of views on yesterday's video, but not too many likes. So show some love. Get us up there in the YouTube algorithm and hit the like button on the video. We will see you tomorrow for our final video of the week in the KBO Betting Show. For Dave Cokin, I'm Andrew McInnis. We'll see you tomorrow on the KBO Betting Show.